Shira Center now, political editor for the Boston Globe. Shira, a couple of pretty big ones tomorrow, Mississippi and Michigan. Michigan looks like it has more question marks, really. What's your take?
Yeah, absolutely. So Michigan is really interesting because if no one gets 50% of the vote in the Republican primary there, then the delegates are awarded proportionally. But if, and it looks like if it's anyone, it'll be Trump, does reach that 50% threshold, they're going to get a whole 60-some delegates. That's a huge prize and could really give them a big boost going into what we've deemed as Super Tuesday 2.0 next week. It's interesting, I think quite notable that Ted Cruz is continuing to do well in the state of Michigan. I think sometimes when people think about Michigan Republicans, they think of business-minded Republicans. They think of Mitt Romney's father, for example, more centrist or moderate Republicans. But that's not really the whole story of the Michigan Republican Party. There's a huge contingent in that state of very religious Republicans, especially on the west side and throughout central Michigan, who are Cruz supporters.
Does your reporting show that the Kasich rise is real there and that he could have a real impact in Michigan, or not so much?
It depends what you mean by impact. I mean, he's not going to win it. He's not going to win the Michigan primary. Could he get second? Maybe. I mean, what Kasich has proven, and he did this in our neighbor to the north, New Hampshire, is when he does show up and he really puts an effort in, and when he meets a lot of voters, it pays dividends for him. And there's no question he's been in Michigan nearly every single day the past couple weeks. So I think it's possible we might see a good showing, but it's difficult to tell at this point. He's probably battling it out for second with Cruz.
Yeah, I was wondering, though, because Michigan, and you hit it, I thought, the most important part, and that is this 50% threshold. If Kasich and Cruz can do okay, and Donald Trump doesn't hit the 50%, seems to me that matters now as we move forward.
Every delegate matters as we move forward, but especially for these underdogs trying to compete with Trump. That's absolutely the case. And John Kasich, who is trailing in the delegate count, and that matters for him. I think the worst case scenario for John Kasich is not coming in second tomorrow, but Trump winning all of the delegates and getting above 50%, because that really puts him even further behind all of the other candidates in delegate accumulation.
I wonder what you make of this, what appears to be another Marco Rubio shift in at least attitude. He's down in Florida now trying to get Florida. Arguably, if you don't get Florida, you're done, whether you keep going or not. But in trying to do so, he seems to be softening his tone again. He's taken on 3 or 4 different personalities along the way, and now he's just saying, come on, Florida, I got to win this. I read that the Panhandle's a little unhappy with him and that the I-4 corridor is going to give him trouble, and that sounds like a recipe for disaster down there.
Yeah, and there's a question that Rubio is shifting his tone from when he was going straight on and playing those kind of what people refer to as schoolyard politics with Trump at 2 debates ago. He's definitely shifted the way he talks, but he's in his home state. And let's not forget, the Florida Republicans is basically like 3 different states of Republicans in Florida. As you mentioned, up in the Panhandle, that's a very different kind of Republican. I think that's a Trump country right up there. Then you're looking at other parts of the state. There's a Cuban population that tends to favor Republicans. Obviously, that plays well to Marco Rubio's ancestry. It's a really diverse state when it comes to the Republican Party.
Yep.
So I mean, it's not surprising that he might emphasize his personal ties or personal connections when he's speaking to certain segments of that population.
Yeah, and no surprises in Mississippi, right, tomorrow? It looks to me like that's Trump.
Yeah, it does. You know, those delegates are awarded proportionally, so we'll see who else comes in second and third and fourth there. But yeah, Mississippi looks like true Trump country.
It's hard to believe that the evangelicals of Mississippi that are voting for Trump, but if the polls are right, they are. We'll know more tomorrow, but it just tells you how much this country has changed in recent months and years.
It really does. But, you know, Michigan Republicans are kind of split in many ways. And if any place emphasizes this great divide between the Republican Party, where you have these traditional Republicans versus Tea Party Republicans, it's Michigan. And it's interesting to, excuse me, it's Mississippi.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see Trump bridge that divide with his support from religious voters. Yep. He's not the candidate I'd expect to do that.
No, he's not. Shira Center live with us from the Boston Globe. Shira, it's great to see you. Thank you. People